Welcome to AI Dispatch, your channel for the latest AI videos on YouTube. If you don't want to miss these updates, please like, subscribe, and share. Today's video comes from All In Podcast, featuring hosts David Sachs, Jason Calakanis, and Chamath Palihapitiya. The episode challenges three widely held assumptions about AI's impact on work, cloud infrastructure's permanence, and the moral framework governing financial markets. The hosts argue that AI tools are intensifying labor rather than reducing it, that the smartest companies will abandon cloud computing in favor of isolated on-premise systems, and that regulations designed to create fair markets may actually eliminate the possibility of outperforming them. We'll examine the reasoning behind each claim. David Sachs and Jason Calakanis open with a claim that runs counter to the dominant narrative about AI and productivity. The expectation is that AI tools will automate repetitive tasks, reduce workload, and potentially enable shorter work weeks. A recent Harvard Business Review study reveals the opposite outcome. Employees using AI didn't reduce their hours or narrow their responsibilities. They accelerated task completion, expanded their scope of work, and extended their working hours. Sachs attributes this to a shift from task-based work to purpose-based work. When employees gain access to tools that provide 10x to 20x leverage, they don't stop working, they aggressively expand what they attempt to accomplish. AI functions not as a tool for leisure, but as a tool for hyper-productivity that demands greater engagement from the operator. Jason Calakanis extends this observation into a redefinition of what employment means. He describes constructing a meta-replicant named Ultron, designed solely to manage and audit other AI agents. The role of prompt engineer is already obsolete. The emerging role is manager of replicants, autonomous agents like OpenClaw that operate Slack, Google, Docs, and email as independent personas. These agents are not merely software, they function as employees. Calakanis notes that his firm is already incurring token costs of $300 per day per agent, which translates to roughly $100,000 annually. This creates an economic reality where a company's token budget for software could soon exceed the salary budget for human beings. The nature of work has shifted from executing tasks to managing a digital staff that operates continuously without rest or memory loss. Chamath Palihapitiya introduces a structural argument that challenges 15 years of industry consensus. The established principle has been to move all infrastructure to the cloud. On-premise servers were considered obsolete. Palihapitiya argues that this logic is reversing. He believes on-prem is the new cloud. The reasoning centers on data leakage. Using public LLM endpoints like standard ChatGPT inevitably exposes proprietary information. Every prompt and response trains the model, meaning a company's confidential strategy or intellectual property becomes accessible the moment it enters the cloud. He cites a recent judicial ruling suggesting that attorney-client privilege may not apply to material sent to cloud AI tools. To use AI without compromising competitive advantage, companies must disconnect from the cloud and bring massive compute power back in-house. The most advanced organizations may soon resemble 1990s infrastructure setups, solely to keep their internal processes private. Palihapitiya applies a similar contrarian lens to financial markets. Regulation FD, or fair disclosure, was introduced in 2000 to eliminate information asymmetry and create fairer markets. The standard view is that this was a moral improvement. Palihapitiya argues that it destroyed the mechanism by which superior returns are generated. He points to Warren Buffett's performance. Before Regulation FD, Buffett generated returns double the market average. After the regulation forced information symmetry, preventing CFOs from sharing insights with select investors, Buffett's returns dropped to match the market. The implication is that alpha, or beating the market, may be structurally impossible without information advantages that regulations now classify as unfair. He extends this logic to prediction markets, noting that their entire value proposition depends on people betting with inside knowledge, whether about a Super Bowl set list or geopolitical events. Attempting to regulate them like securities would eliminate their function. David Friedberg presents the conventional fiscal perspective. The US is in a death spiral where interest payments will eventually consume the entire federal budget. Chamath offers a counter framework that dismisses traditional fiscal constraints. He observes that debt to GDP ratios have been rising globally for centuries. His argument is that if every major economy inflates their currency and increases debt simultaneously, the absolute ratio becomes meaningless. As long as the US doesn't decouple negatively from other major economies, the specific number, whether $35 trillion or $50 trillion, is irrelevant. Sachs adds a technological layer to this argument, suggesting that the $600 billion in AI capital expenditures from hyperscalers could trigger a new wave of GDP growth that simply outruns the debt. This framework treats traditional economic constraints as irrelevant, provided technological leverage is sufficient. The hosts share a willingness to disregard social, legal, and economic conventions when those conventions conflict with the leverage provided by technology, whether it involves relocating servers to private locations to avoid AI data exposure or accepting that fair markets may be incompatible with superior returns. They describe a future where efficiency and leverage override established institutional norms. The underlying question is whether existing regulatory and economic structures can function in an environment where software-driven leverage renders traditional rules obsolete. If you're interested in the video featured in this episode, click the link below to watch the original.